Okay, so today we're going to be looking at an introduction to constructions. So have your note sheet ready and ready to take notes. So today we're going to look at the purpose of constructions, identify some construction tools that we'll be using, explain how compasses work as a measuring tool, and then be ready to apply our knowledge of all of these things to create some constructions together in class. So first we're going to look at the history of constructions. So geometric constructions of figures and lengths were restricted to the use of only a straight edge and a compass. The Greeks formulated much of what we think of as geometry over 2,000 years ago. In particular, the mathematician Euclid documented it in his book of Elements. Because of this, they are known as Euclidean constructions. The word construction in geometry has a very specific meaning. The drawing of geometric items such as lines and circles using only compasses and straight edge. We will look at what those are in a little bit. Very importantly, you are not allowed to measure angles with a protractor or measure lengths with a ruler. We are not allowed to do that. We need to use only a compass and a straight edge. So which compasses are we talking about? So compasses are a drawing instrument used for drawing circles and arcs. It has two legs, one with a point and the other with a pencil. So this was the point one, this is the pencil one, the two legs. You can adjust the distance between the point and the pencil, and that setting will remain the same. So you can adjust it in this compass. It's this little part right here that adjusts. And this kind of compass has nothing to do with the kind that you use to find the north direction when you are lost. So let's look at some other examples of what compasses are. So these are 4 examples of some compasses. We're going to primarily be using ones that look like this, but they all do the same thing. And why do we keep talking about a straight edge and not a ruler? So a straight edge is simply a guide for your pencil when you're drawing straight lines. So we'll usually use a ruler to create these straight lines, but we do not want to use the markings on the ruler during the constructions. We don't want to use the numbers to sway our constructions in any way. And these are some examples of straight edges that we will use. So why did Euclid do it this way, not allowing us to use a protractor or a ruler? Why didn't he just measure things with a ruler and calculate lengths? For example, one basic construction is bisecting a segment when we find its midpoint. Why not just measure the segment with a ruler and divide by 2? One theory is that they could not easily do arithmetic. They had only whole numbers, no zero, and no negative numbers. This meant that they could not divide, for example, 5 and 2 and get 2.5 because they did not understand what 2.5 was. So they did not have a system like ours, and it was quite difficult to use. So faced with finding the problem of finding a midpoint, they could not do the obvious by measuring it and dividing by 2. They had to have other ways, which led us to our constructions using our compass and a straight edge or a ruler. It is also why the straight edge has no markings. It is definitely not a graduated ruler, but a simple guide for your pencil for making straight lines. They solved problems graphically by drawing shapes instead of using arithmetic. Recall that all measures we did to find midpoints were approximations, as long as we weren't using the graph paper. Even on the graph paper, we have to restrict ourselves to placing the vertices of triangles only on grid points, right? If I have a axes, I need to make sure that my points are on those points where my graph is meeting, and if I'm anywhere in the middle floating, I don't know what the exact number is. If we want to find the exact midpoint of any segment, we cannot resort to a regular ruler. We need geometric tools and a geometric construction to pinpoint the midpoint. So using a compass, like we said, this type of compass that we're going to be looking at has two legs. This leg here is the one with a needle, and then this leg is going to have a pencil. So when we use the leg with the needle, that is going to locate our starting point of where we will be drawing our construction and measuring a distance. The hinge, so this part over here, is what allows us to open or close our compass whatever distance we want it to be. And we can lock them so that the distance does not change. And then when we use the pencil, that will mark the distance that we opened our compass to. Like I said, we will have practice using a compass and a straight edge in class. So I hope you learned a lot and are ready to do some constructions.